Hello and welcome to the Copper Link. In this episode, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of all the releases in the CCG era to give you a basic timeline. There will be a lot of fast information, so hold on to your hat. The first release was Westeros Edition. It included 3 houses, Stark, Lannister and Baratheon, and it contained many of the staples that we still know from the second edition today. The second release was A Sea of Storms, which introduced House Greyjoy. It also included a significant Kingsguard presence and was the home of such classics as Jedi Stannis, Lannister Brothel, and Valar Morghulis. The third release was A Flight of Dragons. It introduced House Targaryen, which was overpowered from the start, and it contained such classics as Support of Harlow, Superman Balon, and a very powerful Littlefinger. On to a whole new block, Ice and Fire Edition. Like all main editions, it introduced new versions of the main characters, and iconic cards like No Prisoners, Fat Bob, Seal of Lion, which was one of the best card draws in the game for several years. That was followed by A Throttle Blades, which was all about winning dominance and cards that got better with dominance and hurt you for losing dominance. It also had a stable of Nightwatch characters and the iconic Blackfish and Gossiping Bard. The final release of the Ice and Fire block was A Crown of Suns, which finally completed the houses with the introduction of House Martell. It also had a theme of initiative matters, and we got iconic cards like Storm Raiders, Longship Iron Victory, and the first World Champion card, Bandit Lord. Now we come to the start of a rotation. With the release of Valyrian Edition, the Westeros block was rotated. The theme of the edition was characters in the prime of their lives, which meant cannot be killed dragons, and a very powerful Viper, whose presence was felt all the way into the first edition of the LCG. Valyrian also introduced immunities, influence as a resource, and agendas. The next release was A Tourney of Swords, which was all about knights. Every house got a tourney ground and war horses, and 2 new agendas was released. Next was A Reign of Kings. Loyalty was the theme of this expansion, cards that benefited from only playing one house and hurting those who didn't. The main characters became kings or queens. There were 3 new agendas, and for the first time a cycle of plots that worked well together, and the second World Champion card, Fleabottom. The next block starts out with the Winter Edition, as the Ice and Fire block rotated out. Things suddenly got a lot darker. The edition introduced doomed cards. Plots with the Kingdom and Others trait as Winter Has Come replaced Valar Morghulis as the plot that kills all characters. And this block was all about the struggle between Nightwatch and Wildlings. Next was A Song of Twilight. It strengthened the theme of Nightwatch and Wildlings. It added 3 new agendas, Wildling Horde, Threat from the East and Defenders of the North. It also included one of the best card draws the game had ever seen. And next we had A Song of Night, which featured 7-cost armies, unkillable wights, battlefield locations, and the release of the 3rd World Champion card, First Snow of Winter. With the release of the Iron Throne edition, there was no rotation, so the card pool got bigger than it had ever been before. The game got a new graphic design, dual house cards were released, crests were introduced as well as claim replacements. Next we have a House of Thorns, which was all about House Tyrell and House Bolton. Then we had a House of Talons, which introduced House Arryn as a neutral contingent. It released the 4th World Champion card, Ghost of Highheart, as well as the Eyrie, which for the first time changed the way setups work in the game. Finally, we have the 5 Kings edition, the swan song of the CCG era. It introduced house-specific keywords and house-specific agendas. So there you have it, all the releases in the CCG era. So until next time, this is the Copper Link.